Welcome guys! In this video I'll be going over the most important key bindings in PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. And this video was actually suggested by one of my subscribers called Jay Biggs. So a big shout out to you Jay, and thanks a lot for being involved with the channel. Remember that the whole point in having key bindings is making you able to perform certain actions, and performing actions faster by having proper key bindings will just make your game more fluid. So which keys are worth binding? Medical keys. As for the medical keys, you should definitely be binding these. The most important ones, and the ones you'll be using most commonly, are Boost and First Aid. Boost is by far the most important one, as you often use Boost in tight situations where you need that extra healing over time or speed boost that it gives you. First Aid is the primary healing source in Battlegrounds, closely followed by bandages. But bandages are more of a last resort or something you use if you don't want to waste a first aid kit in the first place. So, prioritize Boost, then First Aid, and then bandage. Oh, and don't mind binding medkits, because they're so rare that you'll be fine using them from the inventory menu anyway. My suggestion: Boost at T, as T stands for turbo, First Aid at H, as H stands for health, and bandages at Y, because Y is a great key to have binded to bandages. Firing mode. Firing mode is something you switch a lot. And firing mode is by default B, which is right next to the change view default key, V. And I've pressed V by mistake when I wanted to press B, and it really isn't helpful. I suggest you change the key binding of either B, firing mode, or V, change view. But since changing firing mode is something you need more often than switching to first person view, you should prioritize firing mode. My suggestion? Let firing mode be binded at B, because you probably already used that. And decide for your own if you want to risk changing view by mistake. I just keep it like they are because I feel I've gotten used to it anyway. Searing distance. Now I don't personally use searing distance because I'm used to just aiming above my targets, but at extreme range it can be super helpful though. So I suggest binding searing distance to your mouse if you use it. Mine is binded to the buttons on the side of my Zoe FK1 mouse, and that feels pretty intuitive. Map. The map is an interesting one because you press that a lot, but I've gotten so used to having it at M that I can't really see me changing it. However, some of my friends have actually rebinded that to the key next to the number 1 key and just above tab. Not sure what it's called, but you can see it right here. Push to talk. It's important to have push to talk binded if you're playing squads or duo with random people without a third-party voice program. Mine is binded at caps lock, as it really is important to give that voice communication when you need it. Regarding crouch and prone, I suggest you keep them as close as what you're used to from other games, and for me that's set for prone, as that is my Battlefield 1 binding, and then C for crouch, because that's just what feels right to me. AUTORUN. In case you didn't know it, you can AUTORUN in this game, and I've binded it to the same key I always use for AUTORUN when playing MMOs. And if you have a standard AUTORUN key, use it. Otherwise, just know what key it's binded to, as it is quite helpful. Peek buttons. Extremely important to have binded, as you need to use them a lot. I think the default bindings are great on Q and E, that makes super great sense to me. The grenade binding. Now by default select grenade is binded to 5, but I've rebinded it to G, as G stands for grenade, and that's my binding in all other games where I can throw a grenade. UNEQUIP weapon. Also important to bind, and by default it's X. You need to unequip your weapon when you need that extra run boost, and it comes in handy quite often. My suggestion is keeping it at X, but binding it to your mouse could be a good idea too. And one last thing, regarding seat swapping in vehicles, I think it's a bit counterintuitive that it's binded to Control +1, Control +2, etc. So I'd suggest changing it to F1, F2, F3, F4 and so forward, as I feel that makes so much more sense. Now in conclusion, key bindings are extremely preference-based. So just ensure that you have your key binded to whatever feels most natural to you. It's obvious that you should have the most commonly used key bindings in positions very easy to reach. I hope this served as some inspiration as to which keys are important to bind. And if you like this video, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next time!